Achel's a bunch of the cream of the crop. The Pokemon with the tippiest top stats in their class, and I'm gonna flip them around and reverse them. You know I like making my freaks, so these ones will be just perfect for me. And are definitely going to be the new contenders for the Poker Freaks of the Year. So let's gear up and go hunting for some high-tier Pokemon to reverse and probably ruin. Comment down below which Pokemon you'd do a stat switch with. I mean the Pokemon's own stats. Don't go swapping your own stats with a Pokemon. Actually, you know what? Comment down below which Pokemon stats you'd take for yourself and what you'd do with them. Alright, let's go down the line, starting with a high HP lad. I decided to do it so we swap HP and speed, attack and special attack, with defense and special defense respectively, to give us a good big switch. So it means that our first one of the highest HP coming in third, as long as you don't include Eternamax Eternatus, is Guzzlord. That's right, this screamy boy is about to lose all the thick and become a speedy stick. Funny enough, Guzzlord's stats aren't that crazy. Decent attacking stats, but for some weird reason, really meh defensive stats. It meant that swapping it all around was going to be real strange. My main inspiration for this one was a wacky waving inflatable arm guy, and those iconic Guzzy screams. In terms of defenses, I think the defense comes less from it being able to take the hits. I don't know, that sounds really weird, but, you know, run out of the way. You know how in Uncharted, apparently they said that, you know, Nathan Drake's HP isn't, you know, him getting hit by the bullets going down. It's actually his luck. So when he dies, it's actually the only one bullet because his luck ran out. It's kind of like this. It's more of an evasive mon than taking hits directly. But those stubby legs just wouldn't do for a speedy menace. So instead it now has those two long, chompy tendrils for feet. You know, the ones sticking out of its mouth originally. Those spiky bits probably help it run up any surface imaginable. Guzzlord normally feels pretty awkward and screamy anyway, so these changes in stats just kind of make it a blue blur. Like if Sonic the Hedgehog was socially awkward and was just, you know, stubbing their own toe every millisecond, making them scream out loud. Guzzlord, the junk of all Pokemon, a dark and dragon type. Guzzlord are so frightened by our world that it moves through it at light speed to avoid anyone and anything. Its body is streamlined and light, allowing it not only to move fast, but also leap astoundingly high. If it is caught in combat, it simply screams and runs away. Guzzlord has the ability Beast Boost. I went a little down the list here for the attack Pokemon. I didn't want it to be an all Ultra Beast video or legendaries, and so I settled on Haxorus. Which, I mean, come on, it's an awesome design and really encapsulates the idea of a Pokemon with high attack. It's got literal physical weapons on its face, it's perfect. Haxorus has a decent stat spread, but now with higher HP and defense, but not much else. I thought it would make this big, bulky Pokemon, and instead of it, you know, purely being an axe-based Pokemon, I didn't want to fully lose the sharp quality the lad had, but instead focus more on shielding. I made him a real thick boy and kind of grounded him. Having it on all fours just makes it feel a lot stronger and sturdier. And now, most of its face is just covered in a shield-like face covering. It actually looks kind of cool. The rest of the body, I took a bit of a page from an old design I did, which was an alternate Evo for Fracture called Solaron. From my Shrouded Fables card opening vid, you should check them out if you haven't. It has a very similar sort of almost opera house looking design to its body, repping the Australia wherever I go. It feels super strong and kind of like a bastion of defense where no part is unarmored for predators to hit. Well, I guess except directly in the middle of the head, it's quite open to attack. But I feel like Haxorus here could probably curl up a bit to protect from those kinds of assaults. Gotta call this guy Shield on now. Wait, damn it, that's taken.
Am I a joke to you?
Haxorus, the Shield Jaw Pokemon, a pure Dragon type. Haxorus have large shield-like plates on their face that act as heavy and sturdy protection against anything trying to break through. They'll sometimes stampede, creating a colossal wall of unstoppable destruction, destroying buildings as they run. Haxorus has the abilities Rivalry and Mold Breaker. A lot of these designs I didn't really have to change their abilities for, they kind of fit quite well, but some of them I didn't. Defense was up next, and although there's Shuckle, I thought that I'd do them for special defense. And for defense, coming in at a whopping 200, we got ourselves the Rock. The Regirock, I mean, the unstoppable beast. Giving it 200 attack was a great idea, as since Regirock is literally just a golem made of elemental earth, you can kind of take it wherever you want. Much like how I turned Registeel into a horse in my letter swap video. This one isn't as wild as that, but I thought it would be cool if Regirock took on this sort of gladiator look to them. Sort of like if you took all these rocks from Regirock and just kind of rearranged them. The big focal points were the two arms. I mean, right now, they just have these massive smashy hands anyway that would work pretty well, but now they're a greatsword and I guess a sort of flail. That much like how Regirock can float now, so can the flail, being launched out and swung around, a bit like, you know, Bulkhead's weapon in Transformers Animated. But it's kind of unleashed and floating, so nowhere is safe. I like to imagine that this alternate universe Regirock is kind of a hint to some Greece region. It was much more colorful and built together, but over time its body eroded and turned into the gray and poopy brown it is now. Is that rude to say? Probably. Little poop boy. Regirock, the Rock Peak Pokemon, a pure rock type. The rocks that Regirock used for weaponry are sturdy and dangerous. Strangely, it seems to understand the shape of human weaponry and fashions their rocks to resemble them. It was sealed long ago for the violence it caused to humanity, wiping out an entire civilization. Regirock have the abilities Clear Body and Sturdy. Next up, swinging from the top rope because it is stuck there as a lighting fixture. With a whopping and competitive 145 special attack, it's Chandler from Friends. Sorry, it's Chandelure! And even with 145 special attack, its other stats are decent enough, and with a good typing, Chandelure is definitely a Pokemon many use even in competitive. Well, probably not so much nowadays with all the power creep, but you know, you get me. This one was one of the toughest to do. How do you really show special defense? Previously, I've said that special defense kind of feels like it would show up as a sort of elementally aligned Pokemon, and like, I guess, I don't know, I'm just slinging some Tauros turd with that one. But I did it here with Chandelure, so who's the real idiot here? Past me or present me? So Chandelure in this universe is shattered and their ghostly flames are unleashed. It isn't able to control those flames as well. Not as easy to let out shadow balls and flamethrowers in this state. But with all the overwhelming fire and shards of ghostly reflective glass there, it is able to give those special attacks the suck and isn't so worried about them. I tried to give it this sort of happy face mouth, like the downwards face in capital D, which sounds like a really nasty position, but it kind of came out as if Chandelure has a mustache, and I'm kind of digging how ridiculous that looks. Chandelure, the luring Pokemon, a fire and ghost type. Chandelure use their burning bodies to absorb the energy around them. Whether flames, foes attacks, or their life force, it all feeds into their ghostly fire. It can launch shards of glass at foes and can even superheat the glass to cause even more damage, or combine it together to make reflective shields of glass. Chandelure have the abilities Flash Fire and Flame Body. You know them well, seeing as I mentioned them before. Nothing can stop the wall, nothing can beat the mold. They are long, they ain't strong, but they definitely can wiggle along to songs. It's Shuckle! We know Shuckle is a gimmickmon, 230 defense and special defense, but nothing at all everywhere else means that getting their stat swap was gonna be wild. I went with Mega Man here. Why? Because we are going special attack here, so the shell of Shuckle now becomes kind of the arm cannon for them. It has to because having 230 also in physical attack means it can get up close and throw hands with some Shuckle brand boxing gloves. Alright Pokemon, hear me out now. I need Shuckle-themed Hulk cans. They may look highly suggestive, but I promise you no one is putting their Shuckle in there. I promise, okay? I kept Shuckle as noodly as possible with the build. I wanted to make sure you knew just how frail this thing is. A stiff breeze will literally peel the skin from its body. I can kind of see the Shuckle having Armor Rouge's armor cannon attack here, Although we would have to rename it because this boy is naked. It's like I'm wearing nothing at all. Shuckle, the mold Pokemon, a bug and rock type. Shuckle are so dangerous that people give Shuckle colonies wide berth. Their shell cannon sends out laser blasts at level cities. Their bodies are the exact opposite of their arm cannons. So frail their bodies are that a small errant rock can spell their end instantly. Shuckle have the abilities Gluttony and Sturdy. There may be 2 faster legendaries here, but ain't no one in the Pokemon world after a few turns gonna outspeed this bug. That's right, from the split families of Shedinja and Nincada, it's Ninjask, ready to become quite the sad sight. 160 speed is, quite the sight, but Ninjask doesn't have much else, so when you switch that speed stat to HP, it becomes a bit depressing, really. I wanted to make it into this sort of very large unit. The same feeling as Cicada has of it kind of just sitting there on a tree screaming. Even if you grab it, it's still going to scream. And this new Ninjask is no different. They now have tiny little wings that do let them fly around a little bit, but it's all about bulking season here. Just try and get through that HP stat. Well, you probably can even with that HP stat. There are other Pokemon that easily beat it. Is there a way that Ninjask could be useful here with its stat swap? Make sure to tell me below. Actually, can someone give me the rundown on if any of these Pokemon would be more useful than their normal counterparts? I'm not competitively minded, so it'd be interesting to see if these work at all. Ninjask, the ninja Pokemon, a bug and flying type. Ninjask are large Pokemon that, while not fast, are capable of blending into the environment enough so that no one can see it. It is said that upon evolution, something emerges from Ninjask, something mysterious and dangerous. Ninjask have the ability Gluttony. What did you think of these crazy stat swaps? Maybe next time I'll swap the low stat Pokemon with the higher stat and see what happens. But hey, I'll only do it if you like the video, comment, and subscribe and share the video around. Otherwise, I'll just see the video stuck, and that'll make me sad. And then I'll have to send the Goon Squad after you. We got Shuckle the Muscle, Ninjask the Meat, and Guzzlord the Wild Card. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.